Welcome back to another episode of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your HUT lineup decisions. Yesterday, we talked a lot about NHL 26 and everything that we know so far, as it does look like things are moving a lot quicker than they have since, I would say, COVID. So it is nice to see. And there's a lot happening, so wanted to break all of that down. Be sure, if you're not subscribed, to subscribe for any of the future updates. Obviously, my coverage of the game will be year-round. All right, let's get into yesterday's comments and questions, because it was actually one of my most watched videos, obviously, because it said NHL 26 news, and we talked about NHL 26. We also talked about a lot of other things, like the new event and James Hagens being in the game, so there's a lot about him. So let's get into it. Ncaa says EA should do what MLB does at the end of the year with the extra inning program. Reopen all the objectives and sets from old programs and make those master set cards 98s and 99s. So that would actually be awesome. And one of the comments from Huck says they did this last year, called it Redo or something, where the top three most made MSPs from each event had a 99 overall release. That was actually pretty cool, and something that they should do. I think that one of the biggest issues with NHL 25 is that they just removed the old sets. Like, I don't know if it's the same. Last year, we could make the old master set player items from every event. This year, we couldn't. Once the event was over, that was it. You couldn't make the old MSPs. So I'm wondering if that, like, if they'd have to go back to every single event and add, like, new sets in and stuff, like, God forbid. But that would be pretty cool. Also, the opening up the old sets would allow players that have just started, want to play over the summer, to use some of their favorite cards at 99. God, Matthews. Like, that's going to be the example I'm going to use for NHL 25 the entire year, is Austin Matthews having, like, no cards. And he did not have a great year, but it's Austin Like, I'm not even talking, like, as someone who likes the Leafs. It's just crazy to me. He's one of the best players in the world. Crazy. My guess as to why Hagens is in the game is because he signed a contract with Upper Deck for their products, cards, memorabilia, etc. And the draft's official sponsor is Upper Deck, so maybe EA can bypass the NCAA rights for that reason, but that is just my guess. So, there have been... I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. Were there any cards? U.S. kids. Like, Macklin Celebrini did not have an MSP in his draft year. Like, he did not have cards, right? So, like, that, I guess Macklin would be the example, I think. Did he? I'm trying to think if they used him for Team Canada. But I don't think they could. This appears to be, like, there has been every top prospect goes to Upper Deck and does, like, a thing. I don't think it's ever coincided with NHL. I think that is a specific contract that he did with Upper Deck, where he allows himself, his name, image, and likeness to be used. I don't think that matters, because Upper Deck and EA have no relationship, which is sad, but they don't. So I don't think that's it. I think that if I had to have to guess, I don't know any background info, is they legit went to him and said, "Hey, we'd like to put you in the game. What's the amount?" Or hey, we want to put you in the game. Would you sign? Like, even if there was no money involved, I don't know. But I think that's what happened, because that's how college football does it. When I saw Hagens, my first thought was that he played on the state's World Junior team, and EA has the rights to IHF players in tournaments. They got his rights through the IHF. Interesting there, too. Yeah, they do have IHF rights, and I don't think it matters. Like, I don't think it, because he's on that roster, fine. I don't think it matters, because the school that he's at has, like, all rights to the player. I'm gonna try and speak to some developers here and see if I can get an answer as to how and why. I don't think that's it either, because I originally did, and I don't think that's it. EA needs to be more transparent this year and tell us exactly what they're doing this year. In terms of X factors, icons, or the process for making MSPs, reward system, etc. Hire a PR person or something. They need to communicate with their customers a lot better than they have been, or they're going to lose a lot of customers going into the new game. Just better communication will go a long way to improving customer satisfaction. So, it's been widely documented that we have not had a lot of communication, or really any, with the content team this year. And the relationship between the game changers and the devs is it's pretty fractured. I think we got to a point, like I said, where it was toxic and not constructive at all. And as a adult, I understand, right? And I've tried over the last year to bridge that gap as best I can. I'm not above everyone else or anything like that, but I've gone in the back channels to try and be like, hey guys, let's get back to the table, right? And I actually, I have some hope for that. When it comes to, but the reason why I bring that up is because in any of the talks that I've had with anyone that's in power, I've reiterated this. So changing all of the things that the content team has changed is completely okay. Like, what kills me, guys, is I would forget about the prior games and how I felt. And I think that a lot of the player base does that because it's hard to go back and like think what you felt. If you go back and think about in NHL 23 or 22, we were bored of the content format, but we didn't realize that. So we wanted change. We didn't want this change, right? Or a lot of the changes the content team did this year. And because there's no communication, makes it really difficult. I think what I have learned from the community over NHL 26 is that when it comes to drastic change, and I'm talking about fundamental changes of how we play the game to earn content, and more, not just earn content, spend money on content. Like, when you drastically change that, there needs to be a level of trust. I make this really expensive hologram card. He is going to be super powerful the whole year. I make this expensive X Factor. I can use that to future trade-ins and it won't cost me more, right? Both things that were not true. Because we were just going off of assumptions that, hey, everything is exactly the same, right? When it's not. And it's good. Like, change is good. And I try my best to highlight the good as well as the bad, because I think that's the only way to have an actual discourse and may improve the game, right? I have explained when I've been asked my opinion by EA about what's going on. I've literally said this, that if the year-long content, so Team of the Week, Star of the Month, X Factors if they're there, holograms if they're there in any way, shape, or form, the stuff that is there from the launch of the game all the way to the end that works the exact same, it needs to be explained, and not explained in a banner. It needs to be explained as if the person making it, what their intentions are. So what I mean by that is, Team of the Week. A new event comes out. Sorry, a new event comes out and it has a little bit different format than the other ones, right? If you're in my streams, we sit there for like 40 minutes and I go through being like, okay, I think we go here. We get these cards and then we get that one. And then the best way to do that is go to wild card. And then you take the wild card rewards and throw that into sets and you take those sets. And I think it gives you an extra 92 wild card. And then you go over, or a 92 master set player. Then you go to the moments, you do those moments, you take those few rewards and then you throw them in. I think it ends up equaling another 92. You see what I'm saying? We have to decode it. And what I think about is, not everyone watches myself or other content creators. Mike in Indiana, my favorite. He comes home from work and just sits down and is like, hey, new stuff's out. I want to play it. I want to work through it. He has no interest in watching YouTubers or some middle-aged dude explain the event. He just wants to get in there and understand the game. You push a lot of people off when things don't work the same, right? So I have explained to them that if you get a developer to be like, okay, new event comes out, here's what you're supposed to do. You work towards this, you open up a few sets, you get a free card. You take that free card, you put them in your lineup. Then you go, and even if it's like not what we truly want, at least we know the intention of the people releasing the content. It's like, okay, this is exactly what we're supposed to do. Okay? In their eyes, right? And that might also open up more dialogue to being like, maybe that isn't the best way to go about it, or maybe we should tweak this. But they 100% need to have a deep dive that from them explaining their intentions of all of the year-long stuff, including events. When a new event comes out, if it's different in any way, a short blog, going on camera is not for everyone. Something would go a long way, because what's happened now, next year, the new hotness, it's going to come out. We're all going to be excited because that's just what happens in sports games. We all fall for it, right? And we're all addicted. A new game's going to come out, and we're going to see chase cards. We're going to see holograms or icons or whatever, and we're going to go right back. Even though we know that they don't upgrade. Team of the Year last year, for the first time ever, I think, cards didn't hit 99. Guess what we did when Team of the Year came out? We saved all our rewards, dumped them all into Team of the Year, didn't upgrade even to a point where like it's absurd, and we're like angry about it. It's like, guys, they kind of showed their hand, right? So we can't you know what I mean? Like their expectations need to be changed, and that needs to be fixed going into next year's game. The fundamentals of making teams in this game is so frustrating. The auction house is a joke. You can put in a bid, then you have to switch between active and unsuccessful bids to add another bid. Copy EAFC, one screen, and the card shows you winning the bid. Man, this is like, here is my guess, because Hut's UI. Okay, I'm trying to explain this. That is not an excuse. Again, I'm not defending or anything like that. It's literally just the reality of the situation. You have 12 weeks out of the year, essentially. 12 weeks of they put all of the effort of coding and creating a game into the new game. That's it. It's not a year. People say that they have a year to make a new game. They have 12 weeks. That includes and then leading up to that, you've got the planning, the sign-offs, okay, this is what we're going to put into the new game, the implementation, this is how we're going to implement it. You have 12 weeks where the coders actually go in and they fix it. They don't fix it. They put in what they want to do. They check off what they want to check off. And I think what has happened, I use this phrase all the time because the developers at EA use it. It's called the spaghetti code. So essentially, again, I'm not a coder. I don't really understand coding all that well. But ever since NHL 15, when they made that jump to that generation after the GOAT NHL 14, I believe, I could even be wrong on that. Essentially, they're like, okay, here's the game. NHL 16 comes out. They just pile code on it. 17, same thing. 18, 19, 20, it's all just been code. So whenever they go to fix something, they pull one lever to break. They got to take devs off of that to now fix an unexpected break to then fix another one. Like, it is crazy. And I think to tear down the Hut UI, it would be like their entire dev cycle. And again, think of it as a business. Imagine you are a business. You were the person that had to sign off on creating whatever. Is making your player base the happiest it can be a top priority? It should be. And 100%, I'm in agreement with that, right? However, you have to make sales. And Hut is, I think it's the most engaged mode now for World of Shell. It's very close. But there's literally half the game that plays only World of Shell or franchise mode, right? Like, Hut is not overwhelmingly open to younger players and players that want to compete or play online. They play franchise, right? And World of Shell with their friends. So now you have to put all of their dev focus on tearing down the UI and fixing it, because that's what it needs. To put EAFC's thing in the game, I believe it runs on a different engine. Like, it is not just copy paste. That's what I'm trying to get across here. Should they? Yes, that is something that needs to be fixed. Like, it needs a new coat of paint so that we can actually enjoy the mode more. However, I don't know how they would sell more copies with their big thing being like, the menus work, which sucks for the player base. You know what I mean? Because the one thing about EA NHL that I have always had, my vision of it was skewed until I went out there, until I got to meet a lot of the developers and understand the process of making their game. They are an indie dev studio with the title branding EA Sports NHL, because FIFA makes up 80% of their revenue. Imagine you're a $1 billion business and 80% of your revenue comes from one thing. Where do you think all of those resources are going to go? It's 10x the amount of dev time and support. And that's not an excuse, because we still pay full price for that. We pay the same price for FIFA as we do for NHL. It's ridiculous, right? But that's the reality of the business, right? If one game they make for the same price, same money that you buy it for is making 80% in a $1 billion company, and one is making 4%, like, it's a reality situation. It sucks, because we're addicted to this game. And I would love it if they just copied that, but I don't think it's possible. Like, it's different engines. Like, I don't know, but hopefully we get new menus and better menus this year. More optimized, I guess would be the better word. I don't think we're getting a teardown, though. A playtest is irrelevant due to it won't be the same come launch. And then a month into the launch, we remember when it 25 came out, the menus were fast, 0 delay. Then, like 2 weeks later, we're right back to PS3 capabilities. So here's the issue with the beta. And again, I'm giving you my own experience, right? Like my own experience playing the game and being in the community and understanding what's going on. We always have fond nostalgic memories, even like months later after about the beta of the game. And here's what's crazy. The beta of the game, of any of the games, is how EA is intending the game to play. So I'm going to talk about like the gameplay, right? It's in how the game is intended to play. Is it perfect? No. The problem is if you're in my community, 95% of you only play HUT. Okay? The problem with HUT is that the game is not designed to play with Hockey Ultimate Team. It is meant to be played with versus ratings and abilities. So as we get further into Hockey Ultimate Team, the further we get away from how the game was intended to be played during the beta. And that has always been the issue with Hockey Ultimate Team. Because when you get to 99, you are not playing the same game at all. Like, it's not even close. If you were to go back and play Versus right now, it would probably feel really slow because you don't realize 99 speed when everyone has 99 speed, right? Like, watching one player go and everyone else is 85 launch speed, you'll notice it. But when everyone has 99 speed, there's no separation, right? If you go back and play Versus right now, you'd be blown away. You'd be like, wow, right? And it's the same thing with the beta every year. It's so when you play a playtest for NHL, the funniest thing is that everyone says this game feels so slow. It's just because you're used to 99 HUT. I think what we get out of the Calder nominee pack next year will operate similar to this year's daily hat trick players. It could. That actually makes a lot of sense. I hope it doesn't, but like it feels like that's what's going to happen for sure. Is that they're just going to operate with like those three players. I hope that isn't the case. And to be honest, my honest guess of the Calder nominee pack is they're 84 overalls. They're not the top end at launch, but they're not the bottom end at launch. They're like somewhat cool. They're not going to give you a massive advantage, but like it's somewhat okay. That's my guess for it for sure. So you don't need a beta when the game engine is the same year after year. Same applies to the starting date. I got to be honest with you. Yeah, so Jack Butler kind of reiterated this. The last 3 years of the game, we've seen more change in the NHL franchise in terms of gameplay than we've ever seen, potentially in a 3-year stretch of NHL. Like, if you think back to, and I didn't say it was good. This is what people always hear things that I'm not saying. So, when you think about NHL 23, right? The pressure system, which is a dramatic change in the game, right? If you get hemmed in your own zone in NHL 22 all the way to NHL 94, you're like, that's okay. You operate the same as if you weren't. But now when you get hemmed in your own zone, your guys lose all your energy. It's so hard to get the puck back. You're in a really rough spot, and you're getting rewarded for dominating puck possession. And there's an argument to be like that shouldn't be how it is. Like, it's whatever. The goalie system. The goalie used to just have the same stamina the whole way. Didn't matter. Didn't matter if he made 18 million saves in a row. Didn't matter. Now, if you drain the goalie's stamina, he's tired. He can't make a save. Again, don't think that's the correct way. 100% the way they have it to do it, but it just is, right? Total control scheme, being able to do the Michigan stuff with one button. The hitting in this game now is just insane, right? Like the game now is so far different than NHL 22, right? And I think, I've said this before, you'll never get a video game in NHL history, ever, where everyone enjoys it because some people like arcade, some people like simulation-based, and you'll never get everyone to agree. I think the goal should be to 65% of the player base says, yeah, this is good, right? Oh, and not even, the game isn't any different. Dude, green beam one-timers. Last 4 years of the game, you couldn't score a one-timer from the point. Now it's all it goes in, right? Like, the game is different. It is different. Doesn't mean it's good, just different. Instead of loyalty packs, I would love to see a loyalty team pick. EA gives out 185 overall player at the beginning of the year based on the favorite team you pick. They sort of do this. So in the starter pack, you get like a decently high-rated base card. But I agree that it'd be cool to pick a favorite team and you get like a captain or like something that like, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that would be kind of cool. Maze Jolt says, last year we got NHL 25 in the middle of August for a late September release. We got NHL 25 in the middle of August. I'm assuming he means the trailer. What would you think is the date we get our NHL 26 3-minute trailer that you will break down with and make a 10-minute video about? Jokes aside, it's always something boring in the summer months when it's close to 99 HUT, and no game that I personally enjoy as much as NHL. Even though I'm taking breaks, I'm always coming back. Just so to touch on that, like, again, I have no insight to this, but I talked about the quarterly reports and that it's in Q2, not Q3, and September is the last of that quarter, and I don't think they can count early access, so I would expect the full release to be in September. Now, that could be September 30th, right? But there's also the playtest going on now, and the interesting part about the playtest happening is that they have to make that build, right? Like when they make a playtest, there's devs that have to make that environment, right? They don't just like, okay, we have all of this. This is what's going to ship. Now go and play a little version of it, right? And we haven't had it this early. I don't remember. Like, I can't remember the last time. Like, even as game changers, we would get the alpha build, right? So that we can mess around and test things. And we would usually get it around June. And they're doing a private public playtest in June. So it'll be very interesting. Like, I personally would love to see it come out in September again, like it did the good old days. I fear that this year, I mean, that means less dev time, right? So I don't know. And with all the changes at EA, not EA NHL, but EA in general, I don't know how that's gonna play out. Like if I were to hazard a guess right now, Friday is usually the worldwide release for a game. The last Friday in September is the 26th. So like that would be my guess right now, is that it's a 26th that we get, that we see it. I could be completely wrong and it could come out October 3rd, but just judging by all the stuff that we've seen, like I don't know. Just one thing, the packs are great, but if I recall, in NHL 21, we got hut points for NHL 22 if we did complete some objectives. Why can't we have that back instead of random packs? That way we can do what we want. We want to do with it. Just a thought. So number one for that is, I don't know if they. I remember that being a really big undertaking where they. I don't know if they're like tracking for it was accurate. I don't see why not, because then we can choose what packs. I agree that's the better way to do it. But I'm assuming that this is easier. And again, I think that they're just trying to find ways to give us rewards for the new game in the easiest way possible, because it's what they have allotted to them. Right? I agree. I think we did get points the 1 year, and I think that would be the best way to do it for sure. And also, that hits hard. Frustrated about the game and a tiny bit of downloading therapy on me personally, because I'm really passionate about the game. Like, I can write essays and explain what I personally think would be a good game, and I have a feeling I burnt a lot of bridges that I need to try and mend somehow. So go for NHL 26. Don't be too negative about the game, because I will still get it, because I'm addicted to NHL. Love the content as always. Keep the great work. This is a big one, guys. Like, if you've been watching me since NHL 17, right? Like, you've grown as a person, right? If you've been doing something for a decade, right? Like, you're just going to change naturally. Like, it's going to happen. And one of the things that I've noticed over the years is that, like, have become pretty self-aware. Like, if I'm angry about something, I just step away, right? And this sports the gaming industry as a whole is legit designed to just keep you in it, good or bad. Like, it is not meant for optimal fun. It is this, you know what I mean? So when everyone is so upset with it, and people come at me and say, you're not, why aren't you critical enough about EA? I am critical, but you don't see it. I go right to the source. I say my opinion on streams. I say my opinion in videos. I will never not say my opinion if it is bad about something that is going on, about an event or content or HUT or EA in general. Always, right? But I also have an understanding that I'm going to buy the game, I'm going to play it, right? So a lot of people buy the game and they do enjoy it because they play it in very little spurts. So they come to my channel and they're like, hey, how do I make this event? How do I take part in this event? They just want the info, which is why I don't, in every video, slam an event, even though I don't think it's very good. I'll say, hey, I would probably stay away from making these cards, right? There's no difference between me doing that as opposed to, this game's dead, it's a joke, I can't stand it. Like, that does no good, right? When we are all giving feedback and whatnot, and when the bridges have been mended with the content team and everything like that, and there's more of a synergy, I want to help make the game better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm still going to be playing the game. I don't want to, just always be so negative, man, right? But there is a lot of things to be negative about. But if there is ever a point in which you hate EA so much that you're messaging people, you're downloading your day on YouTubers and streamers and things like that because you are so upset about the game, and you have a right to be upset. I'm not saying don't be upset. Don't buy it, man. And that is like such a crazy take, because it's like, you shouldn't have to be unhappy and not buy a game because you're upset about it, but like, that is it. If you just stop buying the game, you stop spending points in the store, that forces change. It does. I've seen it. There's been times throughout this year where things have been so bad, and I've explained to everyone, do not spend money in the store. There was people with pre-order points in November this year. Crazy. And a number of them, because there was no packs. Remember team builders not being able to be made? They can see that what sets are being made. Team builders aren't being made. What happened? Team builder packs. That's the number one way to make team builders, right? The way that you implement change as a consumer is you do not consume. And I hope that you always consume my content, right? So when I try to make the game, I will always be on your side to try and make the game better, because selfishly, if the game does better, I do better, right? Like YouTubers, creators, all of it, right? I never want the game to be worse. I just want it to be better. So that's what the whole goal. And Maze Joel is very, very passionate, yes. And there's been times where I've literally told him, you got to just stop playing the game for a little while. And he has. So for anyone out there that, is just so mad, like you get anger playing the game, whether it's losing in rivals or champs or whatever, dude, I promise you, just Google top games from July and give one a test. And you'll find that it's actually pretty enjoyable. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.